Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Careers at Council Local Legends Community Careers Stories webinar series. Try saying that 3 times fast. My name is Natalie Salome and I'll be your host for this afternoon. We're super excited to have you join us for what promises to be a very insightful and engaging session. But before we begin our webinar and introduce our esteemed guest for this afternoon, I'd just like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and all of the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today, and my respects to elders past, present and future. So this is our second webinar of the series. It's focused on promoting a recruitment strategy in response to a critical workforce challenge. And I am very pleased to welcome our esteemed speaker, Carly Whitcombe, who is the Shared Services Coordinator, Business and Performance at Port Macquarie Hastings Council, to share that beautiful story. Carly's expertise and insights will undoubtedly provide us with a deeper understanding of how we can attract talent from our own local communities. Before we dive into our discussion, I'd just like to introduce you to the Careers at Council platform. Also, before I go there, throughout the webinar, I just wanted to remind you, we do encourage your active participation by asking questions and sharing your thoughts. You can submit your questions using the Q&A feature, and we will address them during the designated Q&A portion of the webinar, which is usually at the end. So, Careers at Council is an initiative of the state and territory local government associations created by councils for councils. It's established by the industry to inform and attract local government's future workforce and is much more than simply just a jobs board. You can access Careers at Council through our website, portable touchscreen device and smartphone. Careers at Council also has a dedicated LinkedIn and Facebook page and an active YouTube channel for sharing videos of the various job roles in local government. I'm very happy to say that a couple of weeks ago, we actually celebrated the fact that we had hit over 35,000 LinkedIn followers. So that is a great initiative, no doubt great work for Davika and Jen James. All our webinars are part of the Council webinar series, and candidate webinar series are recorded and available for councils and job seekers to watch and read the transcript. Our first Council webinar recording and transcript are now available on the dedicated webinar page and YouTube channel. All member councils are provided with the opportunity to shine light on their exceptional work and achievements through the Council Spotlight section. This section covers a range of topics, including innovative projects, community initiatives, and success stories that highlight the positive impact councils have on different local areas. The Council Spotlight aims to inspire and inform both current and prospective employees, as well as community members, about the valuable contributions made by dedicated teams. Our job alert registrations are now growing. We now have 8,875 total job alert registrations. Our job alert registrations growth from January to April 2025 was a whopping 8.6%, and growth in the last 10 months was 28.5%. Great work from the team there. We are growing every day, and our member councils have access to a talent pool of more than 8,000 candidates. Now, great work. We have an established Careers at Council member network as well that is available to all employees of member councils who have subscribed to the Careers at Council platform. To join the network, please email careers@lgnsw.org.au. Joining the Careers at Council community is a great way to explore job opportunities and connect with local government communities across Australia. You can sign up for job alerts, attend our webinar series, view our vodcasts, read our council spotlights, join the CAC member network, and of course, connect with us on social media and become part of the Careers at Council community. I might just pause the share screen there. And Carly, surely you've had enough of my voice. It is now time to hear from you. So I'm just going to stop sharing there. All right, we will come back to the Q&A portion, I promise. But for now, really, this is Carly's moment, Carly's time to share with us the wonderful work that has been happening in this space at Port Macquarie Hastings Council. All right, Carly, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Looking forward to this one. Can you share a bit about your career journey? What led you to your current role as the Shared Services Coordinator at Port Macquarie Hastings?
Yeah, so I fell into the HR space by accident in the UK. I've been over here almost 13 years and done a mix of hotel, like operational roles and HR roles. And I relocated to Port Macquarie in 2019. I'm one of those very lucky people who I applied for 2 council jobs, both at the same time, and landed one. So first time.
Good job. Good job.
So yeah,
Fantastic.
started off in the recruitment space, and now I look after recruitment, learning and development, our HR systems, HR triage services, and admin for the wider HR team.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, and it's almost like a shoot she scores type scenario where it was. It's fantastic. Good stuff. Yeah, I understand you recently took a hands-on approach with one of your recruitment campaigns. Can you tell us a bit about this recruitment campaign and I guess what its objectives were?
I mean, I guess with any recruitment, the objectives are to hire people.
Absolutely.
And it was specifically in our water and sewer space. So it wasn't an option to slow down that service or scale back what we were delivering. We have to operate water and sewer. And our network is pretty extensive just due to the geographical size of our LGA. So whilst the teams are big, we had a fairly significant number of vacancies that it just didn't make logical sense to try and recruit one by one or in small groups. We had about 15 vacancies.
Okay, yeah.
And we don't compete with anybody because there is no other water provider.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that a part of this particular campaign was engaging directly with the community at the local shopping centre. What inspired that idea?
I guess it was just we needed to try something new. What we were doing wasn't working, and we see our education and inclusion and engagement teams out sharing about what council do and showcasing that. Kind of came up with the ideas. Well, what if we took recruitment out to the local shopping centre and put a stand in there?
Absolutely.
And talk to people about what the roles in water and sewer actually do. It's not all about number twos. You're not necessarily going to come across that every day. And just build interest and understanding, whether that was with an actual candidate or someone's mum, someone's wife, someone's grandma, whatever that is, just to spread that word. Oh, did you know that they do this? Oh, they do that. And yeah, we're a small town, essentially. People talk.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I have to say it is a very innovative idea because it's very, I would have to say, very rare for, one to go grocery shopping on a Saturday or a Sunday or whenever it is and encounter one's, council officials and have them sort of actively promote, recruit certain vacancies. I've certainly never encountered it in my local government area when I go grocery shopping of a Saturday or a Sunday. So it certainly is a very innovative idea. What would you say were, the biggest challenges you faced in sort of filling the vacancies in the waste and sewer section?
Yeah, just that lack of knowledge and lack of competition. So we probably get a lot of applications from plumbers. We're still very much that growing town with lots of new builds and lots of developments. So there is a demand for plumbers that we might not always meet salary expectations with the private industry, or where private industries have to have those people, they pay that premium. And yeah, we had a challenge with bringing some of the recruitment teams on board and getting them to come and participate as well.
Sure.
Because as much as Renee, our recruiter, and I could go out, we don't know the intricacies of the role or what a day looks like, and nor could we remember it for 15 roles.
Sure. That's a monumental task, certainly. Yeah. How did you overcome that challenge of, if I can put it diplomatically, the challenge of resistance?
I think once we explained it, we kind of had the cohorts on board. And to be fair to the cohorts, they probably didn't participate as much as their operational staff. So it's bringing them on board and going, like, you know, somebody from our HR team or from our recruitment team will be there every step of the way. So we will buffer some of the more challenging people. What we want you to send is just your people that like working here, that are good with people, just to go, well, this is what I do, and this is what my team are like, and this is why I work here. So we did some rotations. So they kind of did 1 or 2 hours each across the 3 days. And we just tried to have 2 operational staff and then 1 recruiter there. The guys that put their hand up for it did such a good job.
Oh, fantastic.
I really got into it.
Yeah, nice. I mean, there is nothing like first-hand testimony, right? For selling something.
Yes.
I mean, it's people want to know how real it's been for them, what have been the positives of the experience of working with a council, and so yeah, you're not going to get and having that first-hand testimony delivered in a shopping centre is an exceptionally novel idea. Can you describe for me a little bit about the planning process that went into this recruitment campaign, like what it entailed?
Yeah. It was probably a very simple one. Once we decided on that's what we were going to do, we've already got the connections with the shopping centres through our engagement teams. We were lucky we already have a lot of our recruitment banners and, you know, template brochures and things. So we did have a template brochure. People in Port Macquarie still like that handout to take with them.
Oh, sure.
So we created that had about, you know, we were very upfront. It had all the salaries in there, all the allowances, and what each job entailed and what the prerequisites for. So almost like a very small version of a job advert. So we prepped those, but honestly, it was a very low effort preparation once we decided to do it. The people element was much harder than getting it up and running.
So I guess the planning of the materials wasn't quite as a laborious task, if I can put it that way, compared to getting the requisite people on board to, I guess, to sell the idea. Okay, yeah. What was, from your perspective, what was the community's initial reaction to your presence at the shopping centre? As I said, I'm yet to encounter it in my own LGA, and I would probably go up to, in fact, I'd probably go up to the staff in my LGA and say, "Hey, I work for local government New South Wales. I represent you."
Yep.
But what was the community's initial reaction to your presence?
We had a few people like that. We're a tourist town, so we're like, "Oh, I work for so and so council.
Nice.
Oh, you pay that much. Oh, you do this," and just the differences became a talking point.
Right,
I'm like,
exactly.
"So, want to relocate to Port Macquarie?"
Yeah.
But yeah, it was mixed, and I think whenever any council goes out into the community, regardless of what they're going out to engage about, you know, we'll get comments around the level of our service or some kind of network issue or something completely unrelated. You know, how do I register my dog? And I think that's why we wanted somebody from recruitment there, that we could just field those and be like, this is who you need to speak to, or this is, you know, the customer service number, so that the guys on the ground weren't just like, oh, I don't know. But it was good. It was like the guys that came out got really into it, and people got really engaged with it. You know, the length of our pipes and how many kilometres we've got and how big the biggest pipes are, and they go from this big to this big, and just it was really a really educational piece where people wanted the information, whether that was about the job or just about the water network and how many reservoirs we've got or how many millions of litres we store. And one of the, like I said before, one of the challenges we have with recruiting in water is people don't know what it is or what we do. So even though those conversations might not have been specifically job related, there was that knock-on effect of knowledge.
Yeah. And those minute details that they were asking you, did you have that information on hand at all?
Some of it. We went out and we're like, you know, what are the quirky facts of our networks and our LGA, and that we can share and elaborate on. And we're really lucky. Our education team has a very good education website that has some great resources around our pump station and the river and all the different things that we do there to get our water, and they do water tours. So we had those elements to call upon and refer people to as well.
Oh, nice. I mean, does any particular interaction stand out to you from your interactions with the community or feedback from the community? Any one particular conversation that I guess will go down in the record books as particularly memorable from your perspective?
You always remember the bad ones, right? And this is being recorded, so maybe
I'm
I
happy
won't
for you to share the bad
all...
ones. If you want to share, if you want to share one bad one, one good one, I'm certainly open to that, and I'm sure our viewers would be as well.
There was definitely some abuse that were all a bunch of overpaid somethings.
Oh wow, that's a shame. That's a shame. Yeah, okay.
And people have different interactions with council, and we're so broad.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't continuous. Said his piece and off he trotted down the corridor to IGA. But what was memorable? I think what was memorable, it was just that light bulb moment that councils can feel a bit closed door and lack that transparency. So it was just people's receptiveness to the fact that we were even there talking about it. And I keep saying the word educate, but just that transparency. Again, well, this is what we're here for. We don't compete with people in the market. This is why we have to be here. And people going, oh, I never really thought nobody else does water.
It's true though, right? I mean, councils at their most fundamental level are community bodies, public-facing bodies, and so going out to the community makes so much sense, right?
Yeah,
totally. Yeah. How did you measure the success of your engagement activities at the shopping centre? Did you guys have like some sort of pie chart that got a tick whenever you spoke with somebody? How did you do that?
I wish we had. In hindsight, on all of the applications, we should have asked, did you see us at the shopping centre? And we didn't. So a lot of what we have is anecdotal. We had a significantly higher number of applications to the roles, or to most of the roles, than we had seen in recent history. Okay. And the quality, the number of candidates we were able to shortlist and put through to interview, again, was also much higher. And we just hadn't seen that in kind of like the short-term history leading up to that. Cool. We'd also been able to, from that recruitment, make use of e-lists and have people in the pipeline, waiting for roles to come up and appoint from that as well. So the quality was definitely there, but if we do another one, that's going to be a question on my application form.
Absolutely. I think it's great that you are taking a retrospective look at this and sort of saying, what have we learned? What can we do differently? And how could we, I guess, quantify this a little bit better? But I think, to your point, I think the fact that you witnessed an increase in the number of applications, surely that would be indicative of, if I don't want to call it the 100% success of this campaign or this initiative, at the very least a 50% success rate, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, we filled 12 out of the 15 positions.
Fantastic. I mean, that's more than 50%. So there you go. Yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah. That's great. What long-term benefits do you foresee from this campaign? You mentioned the talent pipeline. Anything else that you can think of it's nice to have a pool of candidates that you can draw upon, certainly. But what other benefits do you think? This doesn't necessarily have to be recruitment related. It could be more community related. It was just nice to spend a day or two with the on the grassroots or boots on the ground type thing.
Yeah, we've had comments through. I'm going to refer to recruitment because I see a lot of candidates, people coming through, saying that, oh, we saw you in the shopping centre, right, or we did this. So people, are talking about it. And whilst the recruitment market's probably changed a lot since we ran this campaign, we are seeing continuing to seeing good quality water candidates come through.
Excellent.
And even, things like we took on 3 trainees as part of that program, that all 3 of them are still here. One has completed and has got a promotion. The other 2 are
Great.
almost complete. And we've got another guy who came in kind of like our facilities and catchment space, kind of got a feel for it and moved across to our water operations space.
Fantastic.
So it's kind of going, oh, this is actually quite interesting. What else can I do and where can it take me? So I just feel that the people that came in during this process have had a really positive experience. And, we did talk at the interview, were you there? Should have recorded it. But, they know that we did it. They know that they came in this cohort of 12 people from this large scale recruitment campaign. And they're like, oh, we were part of that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, to your point, it's such a great point that you make, particularly with your trainees that are, traversing the landscape and making it all the way through to the finish line and then staying with the council. I mean, retention is the penultimate aim here, right? And the fact that they're staying, I think speaks volumes. Definitely. Definitely. Sorry, you guys. No.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, we're starting to see, we get to the point where will we have a vacancy for these people as they finish? Because we did get such a good bunch of people across the board that have settled into the team. We're starting to see less turnover, which is good. Yeah.
It's a two-edged sword, isn't it? It's a totally valid concern. Is there going to be a vacancy? Given the quality of candidates that you've managed to garner through this initiative, totally valid concern. I guess a bridge that you will cross when you need to cross it.
It's a good problem to have.
Indeed, it actually is. Can you provide me with some tangible examples, Carly, of how you feel this campaign has changed perceptions about the vacancies, about the roles, the water and waste roles?
I think internally, maybe not perception about the vacancies, but the perception of how our recruitment and HR team support the hiring managers, that we're not just, reactive and admin. Let's put an advert out, let's wait and see if someone can apply. We've really become a partner to those leaders, and there's been a lot more collaboration since that. I've got this vacancy, what do you think? Have you got any suggestions? And really kind of taking that expertise and knowledge on board. They're definitely willing to get out more. We did a careers fair this week and we had a whole water and sewer stand, and they came and spoke to our local year 10 students, bought them pipey things. Don't ask me the technicalities with them. And we're just chatting to the year 10 kids going, oh, this is what we do. This is the things. I've forgotten your original question now.
I think you've answered it beautifully. I will just touch upon, I guess, two points really, which is that there's now, as a result of this campaign, there's now a real openness rather than a resistance. So there might not have been I dare say there would have been a perception shift, but there was also a mindset shift as well as a result of that, which is fantastic. And then also emanating from that, I think, a real appreciation of the complexities associated with recruitment, right? It's not an easy thing. And sometimes, perhaps, speaking, I hope I'm not speaking out of school here, but perhaps, not perhaps all council staff outside of recruitment appreciate those complexities. So if it's helped bridge that gap, that divide, then I think it was worth every second that you spent on it, certainly. What was the most rewarding aspect for you of working on this campaign personally?
Just getting out there and not being afraid to try something different. And Renee and I owned it from the get-go. We've not done it. We don't know if it's going to work.
Sure.
But nothing else is working. So what's the worst that can happen by putting ourselves out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, outside the box thinking in terms of, yeah, where to go. Nothing's worked, so let's try something that's totally rambunctious and outrageous. Are there any more campaigns of that nature on the cards at all?
I think so.
I have a feeling there's going to be a need for a webinar part two to this particular webinar because I have a feeling there's some cogwheels churning there, and there might be some more outside the box initiatives that you guys are going to, without divulging too much, can you give me a teaser or something?
Well, we've been doing, my boss hates me calling it this, speed dating or speed interviewing for a couple of
Okay.
roles.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm kind of thinking of maybe growing that, so it's not just apply, get invited to a speed interview. It's something more interactive that we're getting out to the community in the lead up to that, and that's how you register for it, because you come to speak to us, and we kind of do that. And we do a lot with our entry pathways with our cadets, trainees, and apprentices over that recruitment period. But
Sure.
I'm definitely thinking of throwing in a little shopping centre visit in there with that one to catch all the mums and dads whilst they're shopping,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
that is the way we find all of our apprentices and trainees, that mums at home or
Indeed.
dads at home going, have you got a job? Yep. What are you going to do when you finish school?
Exactly, exactly. No, totally. The concerned parents, definitely,
Yeah.
and council being that safe haven where, yeah, the apprentices and the trainees and the cadets can get some really great formation. So
Yes.
certainly, how do you think this campaign has influenced your approach to, future recruitment efforts? I mean, we talked about outside the box thinking, but anything else in terms of, how it's influenced future means of recruitment?
Definitely watch what other people are doing as well. There's council not too far south of us that, we watch what they do because we think they do great things.
Mm,
And,
mm,
there's a few things that we've kind of gone, oh, maybe we should try that.
mm, mm. Okay.
So
Yeah, can you give me an example?
I can
Not to
name
put
them.
not to put you on the spot.
So name and shame. No, that's not shame.
No, it's not a name and shame.
No.
Certainly, it's something actually. They say emulation is the best form
Yeah.
of admiration. So no,
Yeah.
certainly not name and shame at all. But can
Yeah.
you give me an example?
Well, the counselling question is Lake Macquarie. Don't know if there's anybody on the
Your
call from
your
Lake Macquarie.
your
Hi.
neighbour. Hello, Lake Mac.
But certainly from the outside, they just seem to have their stuff together. It's organised, it's cohesive, it's consistent. When I look at their social media messaging, and I look after our entry pathways program, and that's probably one of the things that I've been on their website a lot looking at, going, what are you doing? Oh, oh yeah, we should do something like that.
Right. Sure. Excellent. And it's good. It's good to collaborate with your neighbouring councils, your sister councils. Certainly, that's the beauty really of local government. There is, I've found, I've worked in the industry for quite some time. It's coming up to cumulatively 6.5 years next week. And the beauty I find in local government is that collaborative spirit, that collaborative nature. So for certainly. What advice, before we go to our Q&A, or before I throw in a few curveballs of my own, what what advice would you give to other councils sort of facing a similar recruitment challenge as you were in this particular section where you had 15 vacancies, a very large number of vacancies? What advice would you give to the councils facing a similar challenge with vacancies in a particular area?
Yep. I guess for me, it's about taking the vacancies to the people. So if you are targeting, or you believe that your market is local, how do you reach those people that is proactive? Whether it's a shopping centre, whether it's a crazy idea like one of those vans that drives around with a sign on the back during elections saying vote for so and so. Just don't be afraid of doing something crazy. The intention is right, and I know every community and the perception of every council can vary, but it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
There's some cool thoughts about councils in communities. So
Yes.
Identify how you can get out to them.
Sure. So not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be relegated to the shopping centre. It could be, yeah, okay. Would you think about going anywhere else other than a shopping centre? That's one of my curveballs. How's that?
I mean, we could try the local markets. There's a few local markets in the Port Macquarie area.
Okay.
Like they're getting rained off at the moment.
Okay. When you say the local market, like a farmer's market, you mean?
Yes, and just local people that make and sell.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a possibility. One more question from me, if I could. Another curveball. Did you find during your stints in the shopping centre that certain times and certain days were more efficacious than others? Like going at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning, you'd get no one approach you, whereas on Saturday, just after the local cricket, you'd get these swarms of people approaching you.
Yeah. I'd love to go back and do a weekend one. I think that probably would have been a step too far for our crews this time around.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely saw those peaks and troughs, that morning, that lunchtime kind of rush as people were going out to run errands during the lunch break.
Sure.
It was definitely there.
Sure. Carly, you've been magnificent. I've asked you a plethora of questions. I've bombarded you with questions. I note that we are exactly 10 minutes out from our closing. So I would like to, at this point, if you've got sort of nothing else in terms of Q&A from me, I'd like to now invite our beautiful audience to submit some questions for your consideration. So I'm just going to open up the Q&A here and see what's happening. Okay, so I've got a question from Devika who says, can you tell us more about the Entry Pathway program?
Of course. So the term Entry Pathway program is quite new to us. It's just kind of bringing a lot of what we do under one umbrella. So bringing together our apprentices, our trainees, our cadets, and our graduates, with a dedicated support person, both for them and their leaders and the people that kind of like day-to-day mentoring. And that person acts as the go-between between the university, the RTO, the apprenticeship provider, whoever those people are. But yeah, it's a growing program. So we've got the resource there. And I guess just keeping people on track with their studies, with their work, trying to iron out any difficulties, particularly more so in that apprentice and trainee space. So, their first time roles, this is kind of how you potentially behave in a workplace. This is, for want of a better phrase, that mothering element of that. That's not acceptable.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I hear you, because you've got some, they're newbies, right? They're fresh, and you've got to teach them what's work, right? I mean, it's because the concept is totally foreign. Perhaps they would have just graduated from school or whatnot, and so the workplace is a foreign entity. Perhaps working hours is a foreign entity, etc., etc. So I like the word mothering. It's there's a maternal aspect to it. So certainly, can I just bundy off Devika's question and ask, how many recruits do you have in the Entry Pathway program?
We fit between 20 and 25, depending on where we are in the cycle. So yeah, we want to get up to above the 30 mark is the long-term plan.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Noble intention there. We have another question from Arshdeep, who asks, does council use any AI software to shortly? I assume that's shortlist applications rather than shortlist. Yeah, applications.
We don't. So I guess particularly for kind of those more entry level roles, we use a lot of qualifying questions, which kind of helps with the shortlisting process, which those yes, those no's, that I've got this, I haven't got that, and it would kind of score them. And if it was a truck driver and they said, no, I don't have a license, that's an automatic failure, so they pull out. And when we say we had over 105 applications, that was across 15 roles. So, some roles would have had a handful and other roles would have had a few more, but we'd have had multiple people in there kind of like going through the shortlist and making those decisions. So nothing too strenuous.
Yeah. Instead of, it wasn't artificial intelligence, it was human intelligence in that.
Yes, they were. They're very intelligent.
That's great. We have another question from Sumedha, which I hope, Sumedha, I have pronounced your name correctly. Please accept my apologies if I have not. And Sumedha asks, were candidates able to submit their applications directly at the stand, or were they redirected to the council website to address the selection criteria? And Sumedha goes on to say, by the way, great idea to have a stand at the supermarket. So,
Thank you.
glowing feedback there. So, applications at the stand or on the council website?
We directed everybody back to the council website, just so that people could address the selection criteria. And that was the purpose of the brochure, to take that away, be able to digest it without going online as well, about the roles that they may or may not even want to consider applying for, and then be able to go online. We'd included an application support page. So when you're putting your application in, we want a copy of your resume. You'll be asked a couple of questions. Here's some hints and tips as to, how to answer those questions and what we're looking for. So when they went online, they were ready to.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could just, again, bundy off perhaps Sumedha's question, 500 applications is a voluminous amount of applications. Were you bombarded at any point with emails about whatever it might be, the selection criteria or the information page or whatnot? Because sometimes having knowledge of recruitment, some applicants need a point in the right direction or whatnot.
Yeah, there was definitely an increase of emails in the jobs inbox.
Yes, all right. I imagine there would be. Okay.
But yeah, nothing that was too technical or too time-consuming in responding to. So a lot of standard questions that we were able to kind of draft some responses and have them on hand just to tailor.
Fantastic. We do love the cookie cutter responses, don't we? One more question from Suchi. How do you measure ROI of employer branding initiatives in recruitment?
We do it really badly or don't do it at all. It's the short version.
Okay.
We haven't got a tool or a metrics in place to be able to do that at this point.
Okay. That's fair.
If you've got any ideas, Suchi, I'll take them.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about the spirit of collaboration amongst councils, certainly. Yeah. If anybody can help Port Mac out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. Got another question here from Said. What is the career growth opportunity in council jobs?
Certainly from our perspective, we have been a growing council. We've gone from 650 to 750 headcount in the time that I've been here. But I've also seen a lot of movement. One of my recruiters, I think complaining is the right word, but she says every time I fill a vacancy, I've got another one because there's been so much internal movement this year alone. And whether that's permanent opportunities or project or secondment work, it's definitely there. And some of that is linear. One of our outdoor team leaders moves off to something else or moves internally. The truck driver gets the team leader role, then the labourer gets the truck driver role, and then you go external. Or whether it's a lot more cross-divisional and, snakes and ladders kind of thing to get to where you want to go. We had an electrical apprentice who went into a labouring role because there was no electrical roles available, ended up coming back to do that, did some kind of team leader role, and then kind of worked his way up through water and sewer, and now is in our infrastructure team managing projects with an engineering degree under educational assistance.
Wow.
So yeah. What a lovely opportunities are definitely there.
Oh, definitely. It's and it also to elaborate on that beautiful point. What a diverse portfolio for that employee. I mean, that's just great, right? Okay, I think we will take one more question before we thank Carly for her time. And it is again from Said, who says, who asks rather, how is the life like in regional areas? For those of us who are city slickers, yes, we are indeed interested in what life is like in the regional areas.
Be careful how I answer this one.
You are being recorded, it's true, isn't it?
I spent a lot of time in Sydney and was very central. Couldn't pay me enough money to go back and live in the middle of Sydney.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, it's good. It is different. It is, I guess some people say slower. There's less things to do, potentially less opportunities for that kind of diversification. But it's only 4 hours down the road, short 40-minute flight from the airport.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I can't comment on working for councils in Sydney because I didn't, but yeah.
Yeah. And Port Mac is such a lively area, as you said, as you mentioned, you already alluded to this earlier in the webinar, but it does attract a lot of tourists, and I imagine a lot of traffic that are on their way up north to, say, Byron or Ballina or Queensland, and so I imagine it would be quite a vibrant town.
Yeah, I mean, I've been visiting for 10 years, but it's definitely changed a lot in 10 years.
Sure, absolutely. And again, I think that's a testament to the growth of the area.
Yes.
In addition to, and you can see that parallel process, growth of the area equals growth of the council, and beautifully so. We are right on time, Carly. I would go us is right. I would like to thank you very much for volunteering your time, divulging that information so graciously and so generously to us here and also to our viewers. A very big thank you to our viewers who joined us this afternoon for this very informative and insightful webinar. Again, please have recourse to our social media where you will get the latest updates and, of course, a recording of this webinar should you be so inclined to go back and watch us, and also an update on when the next webinar is up. Carly, thank you again, and thank you to our viewers. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Take care.